Alrighty, what is going on, DC3 Pro team? Welcome back to another DC3 Pro training video. We've got a very special one today. Thanks to the new systems and talking to a lot of people, we're implementing a lot of cool things. And one of the big things that I've noticed that for future use, this will be a very a kind of a niche video, but this is going to be called our RESI control navigational training videos. This is all about how RESI works. This is all about how the controlling for RESI, because there's a thanks to the streaming platform we have, we're able to do and control RESI and everything that goes online, from church online to Facebook to YouTube, are all in a central location, which is RESI's website, and they feed everything through there, and we have total control over how RESI operates. So what we're going to show you today is a navigation of the website of resi.control.io. Now, let's jump right into it. Like I said, there's a lot more in detail that'll go for our broadcast team leaders. That's what this video is going to be designed for specifically, are those team leaders that are specifically over the broadcast and know how to fix and troubleshoot things if a live stream doesn't seem to be going well. So first thing we're going to do is, it's all Internet Explorer based. So actually, you can do this from anywhere at your house. If you're on vacation, as long as you have a computer that can connect to the internet, you can control the encoders, decoders for RESI. So this will be mainly for our Punta Gorda campus because it is our broadcast campus. So it's very specific now, but it'll be good for if you're interested to see how this program works. So let's jump right into it. First, we're going to open up Google Chrome. We're going to type in control.resi.io right here. I'm going to press enter. Now, what will be important for you guys to know is when you log in, you'll be able to use my email. What I can also do is, if you become a team leader, I can create you a email and password to get into RESI, into our RESI service. So right now I'm going to use my email and my password, and then I'm going to press sign in. Now when you sign in, you'll be opened up to the dashboard window on the top right. So what you'll see is, you'll see our encoder, which is, this is our primary encoder for RESI, which sends out the signal. The encoder is a specific hardware that sends a signal out to our campuses. That's what embeds the audio and the video together, combines them, and then sends that out to Facebook, YouTube, and Church Online, as well as the Northport campus when we are doing live teaching. You need a decoder to do this, which we have at both Punta Gorda and Northport. So the decoder takes the signal that we're sending from the encoder, and that that catches the signal, and then we can de-embed, which that just means it'll split the audio and video, and you can use that and watch the video, or watch the service, or whatever we're sending out in the stream. Now, you'll see here in the venues, this is the Northport and Punta Gorda campuses, right? So these are both decoders. If you'll look, you can see the venues, which again, Punta Gorda, the events, which is something that'll be running, but currently nothing is running. Statuses of the decoders. Currently the decoder is paused, and now you can see that the decoder is offline for Northport, which that's not good, which means that someone turned off the decoder, which is, if you're a team leader, if you're noticing the broadcast, but I should be able to catch this. But if you ever see this, I need to know, oh, I have to go to Northport and turn on the decoder because it's offline currently. So I need to know that I need to go and turn it on. You'll see the position that it's at. That's just this is for the previous event that happened. You'll see a buffer time, which is how much it catches. It takes to buffer. This is the average bandwidth. You guys don't need to worry about this too much. The mode, it's cloud service. You don't need to worry about that too much. This is the version, just updated. And here's the status updates. So The decoder just updated today at 1:32 p.m. Right? So we just got that update literally a minute ago, and it's constantly updating, which is nice, and it's constantly telling you how the decoder is. Next, we're going to go down to encoders, which this is the Punta Gorda encoder, the main encoder. So what we're doing is we're taking a 1080i signal and doing its 3.5 megabits HEVC. This is just the encoder profile we created with RESI. And then this is what we call our event. So whenever you see, and I'll kind of show you how to create events and stuff like that in another video, but this tells you if the encoder or what the encoder event is called. Next, you'll see the status, which the encoder stopped because we're currently not streaming anything. And you'll also see the actions. So right here, I literally can come and I can start the encoder anytime I want, which will automatically start a stream. Now, one important note that we need to make is that when you start a stream, when you start the encoder, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start a stream to Facebook and YouTube, right? Because the encoder is a separate hardware that starts running, but YouTube and Facebook are certain social scheduled events that RESI starts running to. So if I just start the encoder, it doesn't start a YouTube or Facebook event, but it will because we're running this encoder event. We're running this into our Church Online platform. So Church Online will start running, if that makes sense. So, like it says, it's important you want to make sure that video equipment, camera switcher, etc. is turned on before encoding is started. Right, so I have and I can use different encoder events like Sunday service, or I can do a special event if I still want to create something. And we also have different different encoder profiles here. So that's kind of that for encoding. I can go back because we're not going to do that. So next we're going to move on to events. So if you'll notice, we had the DC3 weekend service, which was this past the 13th. We also have a scheduled rehearsal event that's every Thursday. So this tells you the name of it. This tells you when it started. So the DC3 weekend service encoder, the encoder starts, the hardware starts at 7:30. But the scheduled YouTube and Facebook events start at 8:30 and 10:15, which I'll show you here in just a second when we get to scheduling. Our rehearsals start at 6:30. The encoders start at 6:30 every day. So if we need to check our levels and stuff, we can do that for Thursday. And also events, encoder events get removed every so many days after a certain amount of time frame. So if you look, this encoder, the DC3 weekend service encoder event, will get removed after March 19th. So it'll be deleted. We won't have it anymore. But it's saved on YouTube and Facebook as past services. Now, if you look, there are actions here between both. So right now I can watch. I can see details about the encoder events. I can edit those events. I can delete those, or I can start a web event if I wanted to run the stream or the weekend service again. So if you go to watch, for example, we'll navigate to the watch. Now, you have to, in order to watch the encoder event itself, we have to use Safari. Because there are certain ways, certain reasons that it doesn't support this. I honestly don't know the whole detail of it, but I know that's just how that part works. I know it's a little odd, but yeah, give me just a second. I'm gonna grab there it is. Catch my breath here for a second. But that's how that specific. This is where if you want to monitor the encoder event itself, you can watch it right from here. So we're gonna go back. Also, you can, if you go to this encoder event, watch if you're, for example, if we're doing Northport, if you remember, we can add cues. We would create cues if you were here around when we were doing RESI. We would create cues for Northport from the right from the hardware in the campus itself, the Punta Gorda campus. But what's cool about RESI is you can create queues right online, and you can create those queues that'll go out to Northport as well as Punta Gorda right from your computer. Um, so yeah, that's a really cool feature that RESI offers. We'll go to if you look at the details, you can see the event names, DC Weekend Service, see the start time when it's removed. You can see the encoder that it's using, which is just the one that's here in Punta Gorda, and you also see the encoder event profile. Next, we'll go to the edit. So I can edit the name. I can change it if I want to call it, said DC Weekend Service, I can call it DC3 31322 service. And then that'll rename it here if I wanted to. I can also delete it, or I can start a web event. So if you notice, the web event name will be the service. Web event will want to do Deep Creek web events. Web event encoder profile. We'll want to do it at the beginning of the encoder event, and stop. We'll want to stop it at the end of the encoder event. You can do a real-time playout, which is the default. You can do, so if you notice, real-time playout allows the user to start a web event that behaves like a simulated live event. All destinations will play as if live and not allow a user to fast forward past the live point in time. You can do the faster than real time as soon as possible. Event active immediately allows a user to add an event to a web event profile for immediate playback. The event will process and show the full content available for scrubbable playback as fast as possible. And then you can also do faster than real time, which you can use for the next scheduled sim live, which allows a user to add a web event to web event profile to use for the next scheduled sim live event without it being visible on the web event profile beforehand. So that just means, so YouTube and Facebook, you can do scheduled events. And so basically all that's saying is just that is a scheduled simulated live event if you schedule it here, which we'll get into in just a bit. But like I said, you don't need to worry too much about that stuff. It'll be a little more in depth later on. So this will go back. Oh, need to go here. So we're back to the page. And then that's it for that. Now, if you'll notice, here's the web events. Web events are the multi-bit rate events which have been transcoded from an encoder event. These events are tended to be distributed to wider online audiences and provide an adaptive bitrate viewing experience for viewers. Just in short and in layman's terms, it just means it's being translated to YouTube and Facebook. The encoder, the main event encoder profile, this is being translated to YouTube and Facebook. Now, if you'll look, there was an error. So you'll see the web events. So we have the weekend service 8:45, March 6th. We have March 6th here, March 10th, which is the rehearsal, and these were the past. Now, if you'll look, you'll see there's a you can see the name, the start time, when it'll be removed. You see the status of the web event, the social media, and you can see that there was an error with Facebook. So it was unable to stream. Error was counted with Facebook. Your event will automatically retry if it does not resolve itself. Right. So we had a problem with Facebook this past weekend. Now, I'll get into more of that in a troubleshooting video later on. But for example, when we're going on a weekend service, you have the watch tab right here. So I can go in, I can watch this web event. This is the church online. This is Facebook. If you look, social media account is mine. Destination is DC3. And then we'll also have our YouTube, Facebook, and this here. Now, usually you can view on Facebook and you can view on YouTube, but you can watch all three streams and manage them all straight from RESI. You don't even have to go to the websites themselves. You don't have to have 3 tabs open. You can have just one. Now, to host and to talk to people, you will need to go on the websites exclusively. But you can manage and watch the streams all from right here. So we're going to go to, you can see the analytics. So we can see all the fun stuff from who was watching, how many people were watching, viewers, views, average watch time, the total time watched, and all that fun stuff. You can see where people are watching from, which is really cool. Got a few people from Cali, some people from Orlando, Harbor Heights. Really cool what you can see and where people are watching from. You also have the details. You can edit the events or you can delete them. Now I see what is happening with the social media. I think I have an idea of what's going on after looking at the events, which I'll get to again into a later video. Next, we have scheduling, which this is where the fun part happens. This is where you schedule events to happen. So, for example, we can see past events. We can see, you can see we have scheduled rehearsals to start at 6:30. I'll go into the past 13ths. You can see scheduled descriptions, these 3 weekend service. Scheduled event, name event using a scheduled description. The status is it's enabled. D Creek Community Church start date. You can see is this a reoccurring event? Yes, repeats every 7 days. So basically, you can set it as a recurring event using encoder profile, Sunday service. The start date will be. This was when I started the dates to keep going. So with January 9th when I created new ones. And schedule after date. Note runs forever. We start the encoder at 7:30 U.S. Eastern Time and stop it after 5 hours. And so the encoder itself will stop after 5. Now, if you see, here's our web events. We have the DC3 8:45 weekend service, DC3 10:30 service. So this is what goes out to Facebook, YouTube, and Church Online. So 8:30 to 10 a.m. or 8:30 to 10 a.m. It'll be available to watch approximately 8:32. We have the default web event. Default. So this is when people can start viewing typically, because it's on a 2-minute delay. You can see here's the Facebook, where it goes to Facebook, where it can go to YouTube as well. I can edit the schedules, so I can edit all this info here. I can edit the web events, so I can change the names. It's a web description, a default D Creek web events, 8:30. I can edit where it goes. My name, published, Deacon Weekend Service. We're going to save, we're going to press done, and all that fun stuff. Next, you have the social. So that's pretty much it. We'll get into more detailed scheduling in a bit. Next, we're going to get into social media. I'm going to press OK. I'm not saving any of that. So this just tells you the this tells you where the state, where we're going, where we can stream to social media. So we've got our D Creek YouTube page, and we also just use my account because I am an admin on Facebook. So I have access to the DC3 Church account, which will go out to Facebook, and that's how it streams, because you have to give Facebook access to the account. Now you can add YouTube accounts. I can add Facebook accounts if I want to, and that's a cool feature to do there. We're going to go to, so we can go to details. If I look at the details of the YouTube account, I can revoke access through Google security page settings. If you'll notice, it's the D Creek Church. It's a YouTube account. Access is verified. In order to stream, you have to allow YouTube and Facebook to access RESI, or allow RESI to access our Facebook and YouTube accounts. So it doesn't know when it expires, though. So when it expires, we have to renew the account, which from this past weekend, which was March 13th, on the day that I'm making this video, I had to redo or enable our Facebook account, but something had happened with it to where it didn't read that we had accessed it. So I have to go in, and again, I'm going to show how to troubleshoot that in our RESI troubleshooting videos, and I'll show you how to do all that and to why it happened and that fun stuff. So you can also view on YouTube. If you look, here's our Facebook account. I can look at the details. So mine, it's type Facebook. It's access is verified. And now we can see when the access expires. It'll expire Thursday, June 2nd at 3:04, which means at that time, as soon as that's done, I need to make sure I go and reactivate my account to Facebook. All right, so that's it for social media. And like I said, we'll go into more in depth on this because it looks like this is pretty important to extend. So we can extend the expiration date. Click and continue to Facebook, and then we can do all that, and we can I'll do on that in a later video. All right, so we're going to go to encoder profiles. This just shows different profiles. I'll get into more in depth on that later, but that's just something different that we use. You've got your event profiles, which are, you have our Deep Creek web events, which is what we use to go out to YouTube and Facebook. It's deleted after 15 days. You can also embed into, so embed is how you stream to like Church Online. Church Online takes an embedded code and uses that and reads that code and says, hey, this is the code in order to access this web event, so I can use it to stream there. And then you've got your encoder event profiles here, and then the web event, and then the Deep Creek return feed is how we use to run rehearsals. So it's a private feed, so that not everybody can just watch it. Now you can watch the profile here, so you can see how the event profile looks as well. You can also watch the return feed. If I press watch, I can see rehearsal from Thursday. If I skip through, yep, so here's our Thursday night rehearsal. All right, so we're going to go next is destination groups. We don't have any currently created venues and users, so these are users, so I can create and give you access to if I invite a user. So like for our team leaders, I'll invite you to access our RESI website and give you a username and password. Contacts, these are just contacts that you can find, and then you've got analytics. So you've got, these are over 90 days. We can go to the last 28 days. We can see our viewers. We can see an average watch time of the viewership. We can also see where, again, where people are watching from. You can see specifically how many people. So 5 people from Ohio. We got a lot, obviously, from watching online and all that fun stuff. So we've even had people watch over from all over the world, and it's really cool. And you see we have some people in California, so that's awesome. Love to see that. So, and then you can see our percentages up from our viewership. Everything's up on our online, which is super cool. In the last 7 days. So, yeah, I think that's about it. If you have, so yeah, that's pretty much easy. Well, I say easy, but that's a navigation or quick navigation of RESI, what different things are. Again, we'll get more in depth into scheduling, into troubleshooting in later videos. Again, you'll see it updated again at 1:54 as of today. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this team. I cannot stress enough how amazing you are, and I can't thank you enough for your service, and I cannot wait to serve with you, and I love serving with all of you. And we're just here to bring excellence and in order to bring people into an experience and an encounter with God. That's what we want, and that's what DC3 Pro is all about. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to these, and leave a comment if you have any other questions or concerns that you want to know. Also, hit the notification bell, because you need to get the notifications for when these videos come out. That's very, very important. And I'll be emailing and sending out that we have the videos ready to go as well. So thank you guys again. We'll be talking to you soon. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day.